So, I set you this task 3 spreadsheet task for the Goa Hotel. So I'm hoping that you've actually gone ahead and done it. And I'm just going to quickly try something in the chat. So I'm hoping you had an attempt at it. If you haven't, then you haven't, but it'd be a good idea too, because next week I'm just going to do exactly the same thing. I'm essentially going to do a task in front of you. So what would be a good idea is, if you've already done the task, to get yours opened and follow the steps and see what you've got right. And if you haven't done that, for whatever reason, then I would probably, I'd say really you want to be pausing the stream, doing it yourself, and then resuming the stream, because I have set it so you can rewind it as far as I'm aware, but I've never used it, so yeah, so you should be able to backwards and forwards it, but I don't know, I've still not used it. So first things first, we need to use, we're going to prepare a spreadsheet to calculate the advertising costs charged by Hot House Design to each hotel in Goa. Using the most efficient formulae, display all currency values in Indian rupees to 2 decimal places, for example, the little symbol or INR. Now, when we get to that, I'm just going to use the INR because it's easier. Now, first things first, we need to open up the file 163resort.csv, which is just here. Now, we need to save this file as a spreadsheet with the file name 163 underscore and your bits and bobs. So I'm just going to save it to my desktop because it's easy for me. Save as, I don't want it as a CSV, I want it to be a workbook. I'm just going to call it 163 underscore RD because obviously I don't have a candidate number. Now next thing is we need to place an automated file name which includes the file path on the right in the header. Okay, so a little bit different for me on this one, as I don't ever use this version for Excel, I use the old one, but it's a little bit different. But you can go to insert, text, header and footer. Yours might just be insert, header and footer. And then for your header, it needs to be on the right hand side. And then as far as I'm aware, it wants the file name which includes the file path. So we've got, yeah, so just that one there, done. And then go to that, that's finished. Okay. One thing I don't like is I don't like when it does this to your page. It's a bit annoying. There we go. Yeah, that's better. So I'll just put it back to normal. The header and footer still in there. It's just how I'm viewing it. Okay. Yeah, I know the delay is quite a lot. It's just the cost of the internet. I've not actually put a delay on it, but I think it's just the nature of things. If it gets really, really bad, I'll stop it. But the idea is I've got a little bit more control in this, and it's a little bit better. And the idea that it goes straight to YouTube and you can rewind it and stuff is why I wanted to use it, rather than just doing a hangout where we have like 10 people, well, in this case 5 people, talking at once. So carrying on. Oh, so if it gets really, really bad, please just say in the chat. I'm just going to carry on. So, question here, insert 4 new rows before row 1. So I'll go nice and basic. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I've inserted those. Now it says in A1, enter the title, Hot House Design Cost for the Goa and Tourist Board. Now, some people would type that. What's the point? A lot easier just to do that. Click in the box, paste it in, and you know you're definitely going to get your marks for accuracy, because they are quite funny about things like that, and they want you to actually make sure it's exactly right. So if you put like tourists instead of tourists, they will actually penalise you for a mark for that. So now we need to merge cells A1 to G1. So click merge and center. Format this cell to have a black background with white text, so we'll go nice and easy first. So we want black background, white text. Now we need a 36 point, center aligned, sans serif font. So if you don't know what a sans serif is, I mean we're already on one now, but it's one without the little flick. So you don't want something like this one. You don't want something like Calibri. Just go Calibri. It's nice and easy. And then next mark, it needs to be fully visible. So for now, I'm just gonna stretch that for now to make sure it actually fits. Now it's a little bit awkward because of the way it's aligned, because you don't want it to be too ridiculously big. I mean, if it wants to be 36, it's probably a bit big. But we'll just make it bigger for now. We'll sort it out for the printing later. There we go. So we've done those first ones. So in F3, we need rate and then 124.2 in F3. So F3, we've got rate 124.2, I think is what it was, rupees. Then make the contents of the cells, make the contents of the cells in the rows starting with resorts and number of rooms bold and underlined. So we've got resorts, a number of rooms, they want to be bold and underlined. I don't know why they want that because it looks gross, but okay. So we've got that bold and underlined. Make sure it doesn't mean it's the heading for that one. And just looking at some questions. Use wrap text for the title. I'd use wrap text as well, if I'm honest with you, for where I'm looking. For that, wrap text absolutely fine. It's probably better. It's just if you scroll that down, if I make it to the width of the actual, that's probably a lot better if I'm honest with you. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's something I was going to look at later on when I was printing using wrap text. Whatever, wrap text absolutely fine. Sorry for taking a while to read that. Just turn my screen a little bit. So go back to that question, let's make sure I read it properly. But the contents of the cells in the row starting with resort and number of rooms bold and underlined, but that just doesn't look right at all. So I'm assuming that I'm being stupid and it actually wants these to be, yeah, it said the rows in it. So this needs to be bold and underlined, my bad. So I'll just get rid of that. There you go, that makes a lot more sense because it didn't look right. I thought I'd read that wrong. So in D6 we need a function to look up to the Toluca.csv. Okay, so in D6 enter a function to look up from the external file the location for this resort. So first things first, just check I've got the right one. So the name, let's do the name first. So it's equals VLOOKUP, because 9 times out of 10 it's going to be VLOOKUP, not a HLOOKUP. Now the lookup value is, I presume, going to be the beach, sorry, T code, sorry. Now this needs to be a relative reference, so you don't need any dollar signs because it's going to change based when I drag it down. Now the next thing needs to be is the 163 Toluca, and then I want to highlight my data in there. Now needs to be column of 2 and then an exact match. Okay, and I can just auto fill that down. Okay, looks about right. Just double checking. So the SLC for South City or whatever it is. So let's look at the next part of the question. So the next part is saying in E6 do the same thing but for the location. Okay, so if I'm honest with you, I could get away with just doing that like that, but it can be a little bit awkward. It's probably good practice just to start from scratch. I'm looking at, I presume, the T code again. So let's do a T code. Table lookup is going to be okay. Done something wrong there, so let's take a little look. So I've got the right thing there. Luca.csv. Let's just check I've done the column right. Oh, anyone spot the error there? I wrote VLOOK, not VLOOKUP, like an absolute idiot. That's me relying on auto complete too much. So I've got those two bits done. So now we are up to here. Okay, so in cell G6, enter a formula to calculate the advertising cost, which is the rate, entered in step 16, multiplied by whatever. Okay, so what we need to do is start doing our if function. Okay, now I'm just going to copy this across, just if it lets me, just because I don't want to keep shifting across all the time. So I'm going to pop this in, but I'm going to delete it in a minute. So I can just click in there. So first things first, advertising costs, so equals if. Now, if the resort has 50 or less rooms, so if that is less than or equal to 50, then the value equals true is that multiplied by, I'm just going to put 2 for now, and I'll explain why I'm doing like this for now. 1, so I can click and read it properly. So it's, sorry, 25, I thought that was a question in there, so I'll just change that to 25. Okay, so going back onto this, we then need to put the false in, so it's going to be 75 if it's more than 50 but less than 101. Now what you don't have to do is put both those in. What we can say is less than 101. So we can do the false can be if that is less than 101, then it's going to be that, that's not going to be that, sorry, times by, is it 50, is it? 75, sorry. I need to make sure I'm reading things properly. 75, and then I've got made the false now, so it's not, well, what we're sort of saying with this is do this, so check if it's less than 50, times by this. If it's not, then check the next condition. If it's not this one, we're going to check if F6 is less than, and then whatever the next thing is, so less than 201. So if it's less than 201, then my value, if it's true, is going to be the rate times by, is it 100? 150? And then the last one's going to be if that is less than, sorry, if that one's greater than, sorry. Well, it's fair, we don't actually have to do that one, actually. We can just, if it's, that's the false one, so I just need to put my if back in there because that's my mistake there. So then my value of false just needs to be the rate times by whatever the false value is, so 200. Okay, so let's check. So we've got, if I break it down a little bit, we've got, so I was checking the chat. So we've got if F6 is less than or equal to 50 times by 25. If it's not, if it's less than 101 times it by 75. If it's not that, times F6, sorry, if it's less than 201 times F 150, otherwise times it by 200. So what should happen now is when I drag this down, should work. Now this will be I'll put my hands up at probably a mistake I've made, so it's to check what is going wrong here. So got an if in there, value of false, got an if in here, value of true, and the value of false is there, yep, and then we've got the value is true, and if the value is false. So That's a good one. I reckon it's probably a very silly daft mistake I've done. I'm sure you can point it out, so let's work out what I've done wrong. Let's just check I've got the rates correctly, so. That looks about right. F6. So if F7, there we go. That's my mistake, like an absolute fool. So I just need to make sure that all my references to F4, I'm using F4. So just need to check that I've done that correctly. So now it should be a bit more realistic, okay? Don't forget teachers make mistakes as well. Got a good spot. It's just popped up in the chat now, obviously because of the delay. But yeah, so you're probably looking at the stream and going, oh my god, this is painful. What is he actually doing? I can see it in front of him. Yeah, it happens. So we've got the absolute references in there, and then we've got to enter a formula to add the number of rooms for the location in column A. Okay. So in B27, so you don't want that. In B27, okay, so we're counting the number of rooms for each of these locations. Okay, so for the location in column A, so B27, enter a formula to add the number of rooms for the location in column A. I should have been a location here, not necessarily there, so I'm going to do it by that. So equals, so it's going to be a sum if, and the range is going to add number of rooms up if criteria equals central, east, northeast, and northwest, I presume it is. So you've got sum if, so it's going to be E6 to E24. You've got E6 to E24, so it's going to sum this range, E6 to E24. The criteria needs to be if A27, which needs to be, so this one needs to be an absolute reference, just so I don't make the same mistake again. There we go. This needs to be a relative reference, and then it needs to be, yeah, this range here. Okay, should work. So that looks about right, so there's no centrals. Now if I drag these down, we should get wests, northwests, well that's it, west and northwests. Okay, so that is your sum if. So it's just making sure you're getting the order right. I mean, I use ifs a lot, I don't use sum if very often, so it's really important that we're checking what range we're checking first, then what you're looking for, so what's the criteria, so I'm looking for central, I'm looking for east or whatever, and then what are the things you're going to add up, so what you're checking, what the condition is, and what you're adding up. Okay, if that makes sense? Just like that. So press enter, leave that as it is, and move on to the next question. So replicate the formulas, blah 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 blah. Excuse me. So one thing I do need to make sure I've done is right at the top. It says display all currency values in Indian rupees 2 decimal places. So I need to make sure I've done that. Okay, which is just the advertising cost. So I do it this way. You might want to do it a different way, but I go format cells, go to currency, and then I can look for, I think it's INR. Just double check I've got it right. INR, 2 decimal places. Press OK. So that's that done. Okay, so I've done the number of rooms, I've got my title on that done. Admittedly, I like a little bit of a space there, if I'm honest with you, just to make it look a little bit nicer. And then we need to go on to the next one. Now, I've just, to make sure that I'm not giving the wrong information, where you said about using the wrap text, I just checked the mark scheme really quickly, and it does say can be wrapped, so that's absolutely fine. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If I'm honest with you, there's not tons. Not tons more to look at, although what I am looking at is my formula here hasn't added things up correctly. Now, one thing to check is you can see the northwests. It says the sum is 831, and it says that the wests here is 1433, and mine is saying that the wests is that. So it's really important. I'm just checking that, and it's just because I've not put in the absolute reference like a rookie here again. So I just need to make sure that. So that's why it's always good to check through, because you always do it. And it's like I said, I'm guilty of it as well. Just ploughing through, doing your formulas, make sure they're all working, and then not actually checking your formulas make sense. So just clicking on them, you can see the little rectangle. Make sure you're checking some of these ones as well. Make sure the rectangle lines up, otherwise it looks stupid on a live stream like me. Okay, so that's that done. Now, there's everything here, looking at full marks. So now we need to save and print the worksheet showing the formulas. Now, like I said, I use the control and tilde like that to show the formulas, unless some of you guys prefer to go on the view and do the formula view. However, which way you want to do it is absolutely fine. I'm not a big fan because I always forget where it is for the formula view, so I just press control on the button above tab, just like that. So then make sure your name, set number, account number, and it's an appropriate space in your spreadsheet. You should do that already. It's landscape, the row and column headings are displayed, and the contents of cells are fully visible. So keep clicking on that blooming thing. Let's just unpin that. There we go. So I can go to view, I can go file, print. You can see it's got my watch mob on there, my file path. I need to make sure it's landscape. Let's go back, make sure it's landscape. I haven't put the row and column headings on yet. The content of the cells are visible, they're not, and everything else is done. So I just need to view the row and column headings. So you see you've got them on here, but you need to do it for your print view, which is really, really important to do. So I always forget what I'm doing on there, so I always forget whereabouts I'll look for it nearly every single time. So I need to go to print, and you don't need to put the grid lines on, but you can if you want to. So again, just go to print again. I can see now I've got my row and column headings on there. Now I just need to make sure things actually fit. So if you just double click, you'll see when I print now, everything can be seen. Now for this one, it doesn't matter if it goes off the screen, okay? Even on the example that I get given, it's half the page is missing because of how it's set up, so that's absolutely fine. So you print that to the printer. I don't have a printer at the minute, so I can't do that. Yep, and now I've put it back to normal view because we'll look at the other printing now. So now I've got to print, showing the values. It needs to be portrait, fits on a single page, and the contents of all cells are fully visible. So you see on here, isn't that it's not going to show these values at the moment. Okay, so one thing I can do is I can print, and I can go to fit sheet on one page, and it should fit it all on there. So it's all on there. And then it's just making sure that's wide enough. I'm going to take the headings off because it doesn't say you need them, but I'd probably leave them on anyway. And you see that all fits on, that'd print nicely. And then I would just make sure, before you do all that, make sure you add a nice little check of everything. You make sure if it says that rate needs to be bold, make sure it is. In this one it doesn't, don't worry, but just make sure you're checking daft little things like that with the spec. And then change the data model so the resort Sun Village has an extra 50 rooms added. So let's pretend we've printed it all out, it's all worked fine. So let's find the Sun, whatever it's called. what's it called? The resort Sun Village. Let's find Sun Village. I can't actually see, there is second one. So Sun Village has an extra 50 rooms, so, and then print it exactly the same. And I think that's fairly easy, really. I think that's fairly simple, fairly easy to do.